Hi, my family. Now, good morning. I hope now all do fine today. Una Kayayi from the Director of Public Prosecution, when Mr. Osman Kanu, he explained the process will then take to reach to this agreement. Say, therefore, remove the Auditor General in deputy, but this process, not stop the again for going to Parliament, not only Parliament, not to President to, not only Parliament. And then get that mandate there. So the thing, even though they don't do all things, so the process get for going to Parliament back for go do the final process. So for remove Auditor General, not to take it easy, it take a lot of process, and they don't do their own process. A lot of people are there, their opinion how long the process take, but you get opportunity here because instead of for the listen here say then say you dey listen from the Director of Public Prosecution when Mr. Osman Kanu, you dey kind listen from exactly how the process take within the step wey they don't take for like I reach to this conclusion. So now, so there you will watch me, watch the video, like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel because we dey have for bring for now the right information, things that will happen. So share the video, please. Now that for do. Now thank you and watch the video keenly and open your ear so you go listen what they say. Okay? Now thank you.
Very much, Mr. Minister, and thank you very much, everybody. I'm grateful for being given this opportunity to be here for the first time, and especially for can deliberate on a very topical issue. But we do not leave. I go ask now for just give just a brief context with regards to what actually transpired with the Laratero PS Tribunal, so that at the end of the day, everybody will leave here with an understanding on having a background of the processes. So with our leave, I just could just read a brief background, and now we can now engage into the position now where the minister don't read. Yeah. So the Auditor General and Deputy Auditor General of the Audit Service Sierra Leone were both suspended from office in November 2021 for stated misconduct or lack of professional performance.
Yeah, make some for we make a English. This press conference, I really they insisting a Creole for talk.
All right.
So I'm not saying you get a script, but mix it up a little bit.
All
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, as I say, the Auditor General and in Deputy in November 2021, they suspend them for stated misconduct. What is stated misconduct? The Constitution make provision for certain behaviors then where now you employers, then in this case, the president, where as a professional, where you actually not live up to, then can actually cite you for that behavior as a stated misconduct. But given the position of the Auditor General in the protection where the Constitution accord to the Auditor General, if you go under Section 119 of the Constitution, you cannot now discipline or remove the Auditor General without invoking Section 137 of the Constitution. Now, some people might ask, why do you need to invoke Section 137 of the Constitution, given the fact that the Auditor General is just a public officer, not a judge? But my conclusion with that will only be the kind of the independence where the Constitution won't give to the Auditor General. Because obviously removing a judge is not as easy when you actually look at the tribunal where 137, they actually say set up for let you remove them. So that's kind of the protection that has been given to the Auditor General. So when the Auditor General and then suspend them here in deputy, obviously a tribunal was set up for letting actually now investigate on the alleged misconduct here, where then they allege say them then do so that the tribunal now go investigate them. Then the tribunal where they actually then set up for let them investigate them by His Excellency the President on the provision they were already mentioned, 119 and 137. The members then were actually comprised of this tribunal was headed by a chairperson, a former Supreme Court judge, Justice Nyawo Jones, and a High Court judge, Justice Ivan Sise, and a lawyer, L.M. Farmer, who is a lawyer of more than 20 years standing. They are the ones that actually comprise the tribunal. Obviously, the mandate, the authority where the Mingidis Tribunal was for let them consider the allegations we had already stated, the misconduct and or lack of professional performance of the Auditor General and in Deputy Tamba Momo. Also, they may get a mandate for investigate the audit service with particular reference to the performance or lack thereof of the Auditor General and Tamba Momo and other related matter. Obviously, the tribunal then gets their own guidelines once the tribunal comments as to how we get for proceed, where they require both lawyers for the state and lawyers for lateral pairs for actually follow those guidelines. But another interesting thing, I know say a lot of people let me know they actually talk about why the tribunal takes so long in actually proceeding. Waiting maybe the general public might not be aware, during this process, there were preliminary objections that was being filed by solicitors from representing the Auditor General and the Deputy Auditor General. So obviously as a state, lawyers representing the Attorney General, we had to respond to those preliminary objections. And obviously there was also an application filed in the Supreme Court, which again, there have been questions that maybe the state, the Attorney General did not respond to that application, which again, it's a misinformation because in response to that application, what the Attorney General office lawyers did was to file a preliminary objection to that application. So as a result, we did not file a statement to that or defense to that application because we have an objection which we have filed. And as lawyers will tell you, given the fact that we are challenging jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, if those matters were to be had, if they get for a reading case, then they, now we own case, then go for a reforce. So until they we own case, obviously they cannot now listen to the case where the lawyers then for Lara Tilopias then file challenging again the jurisdiction of the tribunal. So obviously the tribunal then proceed with we lawyers representing the Attorney General presenting we case, and obviously then gets opportunity as well for cross-examine the witnesses, then we will bring them and at the end of the day then present the new witnesses before we actually now concluding the case. At the end of the process, obviously the tribunal then adjourned for ruling, which again during that process there is a lot of hue and cry. We then say the time takes so long for the tribunal arrive at a decision. In other words, why is he beyond the 3 months given to judgment for the court system? But again, that is unfortunately I want no disrespect to the people who are making this comment. They were now equating the tribunal with a court. It's not a court. When a tribunal makes a judgment has the force of a high court judgment. But the tribunal in actually reaching their decision sometimes takes longer because it's an inquiry process. Sometimes even after where the lawyers then don't finish their own submissions, the members of the tribunal are at liberty for ask more questions, probing questions, because it's like an inquisitorial system. In other words, the tribunal then get power for ask questions. inquisitorial say the tribunal, and then they ask question. What we have in Sierra Leone is an adversarial system where lawyers argue, and obviously the judge will rule. I mean, the judge is just there to maintain the balance. But a tribunal is more of an inquiry process, so it takes a lot longer. So the 3 months that they were referring to, it's unfortunate. It's a lack of understanding of what the position of a tribunal. So at the end of the day, we all learn, because at the end of the day, we don't have a monopoly of knowledge. So, but when these issues come up, I think this gives us an opportunity so that we can address that. If in the future, maybe a tribunal is taking the time to reach a decision, we know why, because it's not a simple process. So finally, the tribunal may arrive at a decision where now recommendations were made with regards to the position of the Auditor General and the Deputy Auditor General. But the recommendation was made, for the Auditor General to be removed from office, and that recommendation was submitted to His Excellency the President, and obviously for the Deputy Director General, Auditor General, for reference to be made to the board of the Audit Service Sierra Leone, because they are the body, now then get power for actually remove the Deputy Auditor General. Whilst, like I said earlier on, the Section 137 now bring the Auditor General under the judges in removal. So only Parliament, in actual fact, it's only Parliament can decide on her removal. It's not the President. What the tribunal is actually doing, it's an advisory tribunal based on looking at what has been presented before the tribunal, the argument. Obviously, the lawyers for the states, the Attorney General, has made a case that indeed there is a breach. For them to now arrive at that recommendation for the Auditor General to be removed. But it does not stop there, because once those recommendations are made, the President is at liberty again to look at those recommendations and now decide what's the next step. And that next step, I believe, is the press release that the minister, they actually mentioned today, in terms of now the President accept the recommendation. The next step is for Parliament under Section 137 B for Parliament not to sit down, follow them, sit down and let them deliberate on the report and take a decision. So I will stop there for now. Hand over to the Minister.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Kanu.